Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle, and today we are continuing our little mini Halloween series. So this is a pretty easy card. There's nothing super technique heavy or super intense, I guess, about it. I have this giant Happy Halloween die from Lawn Fawn, and these are my favorite to use for really quick and easy cards when I need them. And I mean, I have time. It's the very last day of July when I'm recording this voiceover, but it's only the beginning of August when you guys are watching this. So, like, I have time. I'm not in super Halloween rush mode yet. We're getting there. I'm feeling it, but like we're not in super rush mode. So, I still have a little time to play with. But this is like one of my favorite quick and easy cards to make. I have a few of these giant Lawn Fawn greetings. I have a birthday one. I actually have a spring one too. That just says Happy Spring on it. I have a fun winter one that says Let It Snow. So like I have a lot of these, and I like to use them to do very easy cards. I feel like I've said that 30 times already. But I like to put them down and then dress them up with some cute little extras, and then that makes your card. So I just happened to be browsing on the Lawn Fawn website, as one does, and I saw one of these giant greeting cards that they used on a mini Slimline card, and I was like, well, that's something new. I haven't done that before. And this Happy Halloween one actually fits just about perfectly on a mini Slimline. So I was like, we're gonna take that and we're gonna roll with it. And and make a cute little Halloween card. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing to like really write home about, but I do think it came out really cute, and I liked using it a little different way. Normally, I would have just used it on A2, probably just because of the way the die is. I would have had to do it on a landscape side fold, well, landscape top fold technically, A2 size card normally, but I was like, no, we're gonna mix it up and do it on the mini Slimline. I've brought back the die cut camera. So basically what I've just done is I've stamped a whole bunch of Lawn Fawn images. They're from a couple of their Halloween sets. I just went through, I think I might have mentioned this before, but I just went through, like, not this video, a couple videos ago. I just went through and like majorly destashed my stamps and dies, honestly. Still kind of going through dies, but for the most part, I have destashed a huge chunk of my stuff, and I am once again lacking in the fall and Halloween department, which is a little bit exciting because it means that, I mean, all the fall and Halloween releases and stuff are over for this year, but it means next year I can maybe get some of those, especially because I'm still going to be on um holiday Christmas buying ban, I believe. But buying freeze, but I don't think I'm gonna get through using everything I have this year. Although I did just destash some of my Christmas stuff as well. Um so anyway, so I stamped some of these little critters. They are Pick of the Patch and Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween was one of my first Lawn Fawn die sets ever. I think, or die sets. One of my first Lawn Fawn stamp sets that I ever got, actually. And if you go back to the beginning of the video and you look at it, you can tell my stamps are very yellow because they are very old. But they still work. They still cut out cute little doggies. And I had this plan and I thought I was going to have more room than I did, which is pretty typical for me. I always seem to think that I always either think I'm going to have more room on a card than I think I'm going to need, or the opposite is also true. You'd think after all this time I'd be very good at like visualizing the spacing in my head, and I am not very good at that actually. So I do end up with a bunch of extra little pieces at the end. I thought I was going to have room for my squirrel to have a couple pumpkins, and I was going to have two dogs on the side, which is a really funny story actually about the dogs. So, and I actually cut this out of the video, so I'm going to tell you the story. I just cut it out for time. But while I color all these little images in, because I don't do anything crazy with the coloring either, it's pretty simple to color blends, and I have all the markers listed in the description below. If you're curious as to what colors I'm using, they are not together in blends. Like, I just wrote them down randomly as I went to put them away. So they're not necessarily exactly like in the pairs that I used, but all the colors that I used are listed there. But those little doggies, I'm not really sure they wanted to be on this card. So back in the first little bit earlier when I was using my scan and cut to cut them, on the first pass through, my I did not tape. A lot of times I will tape my paper down to my scan and cut mat just because it's getting kind of old and they're also really expensive and getting harder and harder to come by. So I tend to like use them for as long as I humanly possibly can, and a lot of times that means I will take post-it tape or washi tape and tape down to my mat and just to keep everything flat and in place. And I didn't do that the first time because I was apparently putting way too much trust in my very several year old sticky mat for or cutting mat for the scan and cut, and I didn't do that. So I ended up with a slice right across one of the bottom dogs, but luckily like I watch my scan and cut. I don't just set it and forget it. Like I do watch it as it cuts, so I was able to notice see that it was moving and not sticking well. So I stopped it, cut that puppy off the bottom, and then was still able to cut out everything else. And then I started, so that part I think I left in. But the next part the other doggy incident that I left out was a couple weeks ago, I went through and I had a bunch of markers that needed refills and new nibs and like just all of those kind of Copic maintenancey type things that you should do. I say should because I don't do them really as often or as well as I should, um but you gotta like clean them up every once in a while. You gotta change the nibs out. You gotta like refill them, all that kind of stuff. So I had a collection of ones that needed some things. A few just needed new nibs, some needed refills, some just needed to be cleaned up a little bit. And I finally ordered the refills I needed because most of them were sitting in that pile because I did not have refills for them. So I I got the refills that I needed and went on a Copic maintenance cleaning spree and refilling spree, and I overfilled a few of them. I think I just kept getting distracted while I was doing it, which is not good. And I wasn't paying attention to how much ink I was putting into some of them, and I overfilled a few. And there's not really much of anything you can do once you overfill a Copic marker. Like you can't sort of just like take the ink out. So the best option is to just leave both ends of the cap off and kind of just let like the excess ink will just come out. um like it will just leak out eventually. And I thought I let it sit long enough to let that happen when I filled them out and refilled them, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let this one sit, and I let it sit for a while, and then after a while I put the caps back on. Well, you tried to use that color. I think I forget which one it was, and I tried to use that color on these dogs, and I instantly it was just like like ink everywhere. And I thought I could save it because if you don't know, Copic markers will do that sometimes, where they'll kind of just like like all over your project, and you can learn to anticipate it. Like I'm pretty good about anticipating when it's going to happen. I'm not perfect at it, don't get me wrong, it happens sometimes to me, but um obviously cuz I'm telling you the story of when it happened to me. But just, like I can kind of tell when it's going to try to do that, and it's just like the ink just gets kind of weird sometimes inside them, especially if you're not using them often. And that's generally an easy problem to fix if it's not because you overfilled the marker like I did. If it's just doing it because it's doing it because they do that sometimes. Um, if you just take both ends off the marker, it'll kind of like reload. I don't know if any of these words are right. This is not a technical technical explanation by any means. It's just what I know that helps that problem. But if you take both caps off and like let it sit for a little while, you can usually kind of get it to level back out, and then it won't do that anymore. But like you can kind of tell if you're paying attention to the nib of your marker. It'll get really juicy, and you can kind of be like, oh oops, okay, you're gonna make a mess on me. I'm gonna let you take a break, and so take the other cap off and let you settle. So I thought that would be enough to fix it. So I just popped the cap off and I like let it sit for just like 30 seconds, right? Because that's usually enough. And then as soon as I picked it back up, it like started dripping ink again, essentially. And I was like, okay, nope, I think I just like really massively overfilled you, like by a lot. So I ended up letting it sit. I like colored it on a piece of paper, or I colored it on like a scrap piece a little bit, just try to get some of the ink out faster. And then I just kind of let it like continue to drip, to drip out all over a paper towel on my desk. And then after maybe like 10 minutes of letting it do that, it unexploded itself. I don't know. But it worked itself back out and then I was able to use it like normal and it's been fine ever since. So don't panic if you do that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I have a gray one that I overfilled too. But don't panic if that happens. Just like let the marker sit for a minute and everything will be fine. It will be, I promise. And it just takes practice to be able to like identify when it's going to happen. I can even kind of tell like when I'm coloring sometimes like it'll just feel different. And but that's just years of practice. Years and years and years and years and years of practice. And getting to know your markers. Now, I know there's a lot of other popular alcohol marker brands out there these days, but I am a Copic girly through and through, so I don't have much recommendations when it comes to other marker brands. But I would assume in a situation similar to that, a similar thing would work if any of them also have that issue from time to time. I don't know. So now I have glued down my Happy Halloween and my little critters and figured out that I did not have enough space. I didn't have space for two pumpkins and I did not have space for two doggies, but that's okay. Now I have them and they'll go sit in my box and maybe I will need them again. Maybe I will use them on another Halloween card this year. I don't know yet. So, but the one kind of thing I did weird here is when I glued down the Happy Halloween, I wasn't thinking and I used my regular Connect glue instead of my matte Connect glue, not really thinking about the fact that I was gluing everything down on a black background, which was like I should have used the matte one. I don't know what I was thinking. So I kind of added these little sequins to it because I had this Halloween sequin mix that is very, very old, but and very retired. But I had this little Halloween sequin mix, and I was like, I can use that to sort of cover up some of the places where I think the glue might have spilled out a little bit. And I have like the finished card here, and like you can kind of see the glue if you tilt it in the right light. So, it's not great, um but really also you have to be like you can see it in my studio lights. You can't like just see it if you're looking at it. You'd have to look pretty close. So, hopefully it'll all be fine. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, wow. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I will see you again soon. Have a crafty day. Our next video is going to be the first August live. So, hopefully that's on the channel and ready to go.